Before becoming Israel's prime minister, Benjamin Netanyahu was simply a younger brother, a brother to a man who was not only a soldier, but also a symbol of courage and leadership. Yonatan Netanyahu, Benjamin's older brother, was a leader in Israel's elite military forces. Yoni was admired not just for his bravery, but also for his intellect and deep sense of duty to Israel. For Benjamin, Yoni was more than a sibling. He was a role model, a guide, and a national hero. But everything changed on July 4, 1976, when a historic event unfolded in Uganda. On that fateful day, Air France Flight 139 was hijacked by a group of Palestinian and German terrorists. The plane was diverted to Entebbe, Uganda, where the hijackers demanded the release of Palestinian prisoners. The hostages, over 240 people, including Israeli citizens, were held in a terminal in Entebbe, with the threat of violence hanging over them. Israel faced a critical decision. Negotiating with terrorists was not an option. Israel, under Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin, had a long-standing policy of never giving in to such demands. The mission to rescue the hostages became one of the most daring and successful military operations in history. It was Yoni Netanyahu, Benjamin's older brother, who commanded the operation. He led the Israeli forces that would enter Entebbe, rescue the hostages, and eliminate the terrorists. The operation was executed flawlessly, saving 102 hostages and killing all the hijackers. However, amidst the success, Yoni Netanyahu was tragically killed during the operation. The loss of Yoni was devastating for Benjamin. It was not just the death of a brother, but the death of a man who represented the very ideals of strength, courage, and sacrifice for the state of Israel. Benjamin was profoundly affected by the loss. His grief became intertwined with his belief that Israel must remain strong, vigilant, and uncompromising in the face of threats. From that moment on, the shadow of Yoni's death would loom over every decision Benjamin Netanyahu made in his political career. After Yoni's death, Benjamin returned to the United States, where he had lived and studied. But his perspective had changed. He began to immerse himself in politics and security, focusing on how Israel could prevent future tragedies like the one that took his brother's life. Benjamin Netanyahu became an advocate for a stronger, more resilient Israel. He started speaking about the need for military readiness, vigilance against terrorism, and the importance of never negotiating with those who seek to harm Israel. In the 1980s, Netanyahu's political career began to take shape. By 1996, he became Prime Minister of Israel, the country's youngest leader at the time. As Prime Minister, Netanyahu's leadership style was shaped by his brother's death. His belief in the need for strength and deterrence became central to his policies. Netanyahu prioritized military power, intelligence, and a tough stance against Israel's enemies. This perspective was in contrast to other leaders who sought peace with Palestinian leaders like Yasser Arafat and sought diplomatic resolutions through processes like the Oslo Accords. For Netanyahu, the memory of Yoni's death was a constant reminder that peace built on weakness could lead to danger. His approach was focused on ensuring Israel's security through overwhelming strength. Throughout his time in office, Netanyahu continued to emphasize Israel's security. He increased the military's capabilities and approved significant counterterrorism measures. His government took a hard stance against Palestinian groups like Hamas, which he viewed as a direct threat to Israel's safety. One of the most notable aspects of Netanyahu's leadership was his strong stance on Iran. Netanyahu viewed the possibility of a nuclear-armed Iran as an existential threat to Israel. In 2015, he famously addressed the U.S. Congress, warning against the Iran nuclear deal negotiated by President Barack Obama. Netanyahu's speech was filled with urgency, reflecting his deep concerns for Israel's future. For Netanyahu, the death of his brother reinforced his belief that Israel must never be vulnerable. Any potential threat, whether from Palestine, Iran, or any other country, had to be met with decisive force. Over the years, Netanyahu's critics have questioned his approach. Some have argued that his hardline policies, while securing Israel's safety, have also led to greater division and conflict with the Palestinian territories and the international community. Critics have also pointed out that Netanyahu has used the memory of his brother to legitimize his policies, especially when it comes to military operations. In his speeches and campaigns, Netanyahu has frequently referenced Yoni's legacy. Some see this as a tribute to a fallen hero. Others, however, view it as political leverage. Netanyahu has often framed himself as the defender of Israel, and by invoking his brother's sacrifice, he positions himself as a leader who understands. As Israel faces new challenges in the 21st century, the legacy of Yoni Netanyahu continues to shape the country's policies. In recent years, Israel has dealt with issues ranging from military conflict in Gaza to the nuclear threat from Iran, as well as internal divisions over its handling of Palestinian territories. Netanyahu remains one of the most influential leaders in Israeli history, and his decisions still reflect the lessons learned from the death of his brother. Whether it's military strikes, intelligence operations, or diplomatic negotiations, the shadow of Yoni Netanyahu's death looms over every aspect of Netanyahu's leadership. His approach to security, strong, uncompromising, and at times controversial, continues to guide Israeli policy. And the memory of his brother's sacrifice remains a central part of Netanyahu's narrative, both politically and personally. Conclusion: the death of Yoni Netanyahu was a turning point not only for his family, but for the entire nation of Israel. It shaped Benjamin Netanyahu's worldview and helped form the foundation of his political career. Yoni's death was a tragedy, but it was also a powerful motivator for Israel's current prime minister. As long as Netanyahu remains in power, his brother's legacy will continue to influence Israeli politics. The memory of Yoni Netanyahu's sacrifice for his country continues to resonate, guiding the policies of the man who followed in his footsteps. The question remains: as Israel moves forward, will Benjamin Netanyahu's leadership evolve beyond the shadow of his brother's legacy, or will it always be defined by the brother who gave his life for Israel? If you found this story insightful, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a deep dive like this. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.